Well, now this has been a crazy day. I'm like catching my breath here as we got this. We have Pat Rifino coming on from XFL News Hub and CFLNewsHub.com. Pat's written articles for the Markcast as well. Pat, how has your day been with all this crazy XFL stuff or USFL stuff, not even XFL stuff?
I mean, it's obviously been a little bit of a whirlwind. As many people know, we don't do this as a full-time job. So having to balance, full-time job, full-time, real world responsibilities with obviously USFL stuff is a little bit hard, but we got it done today because champions, and that's what we do.
Yeah, as soon as we get done with this, I'm going to go load into the Seattle wedding show this weekend. We have our big wedding conference. I'll be driving down here. But I wanted to get Pat on. So we have kind of the big breaking news. We have the USFL uniforms. Pat has his article that's going to be on as you listen to this on XFL News Hub. You can check out. And then I want to hit on the playoff stuff and then the draft order, right? Those are kind of the three major USFL talking points today. But Pat has gone through and ranked, which is really good because I was getting a lot of hate on like my comments on Twitter about this. So I think it's better that we have Pat maybe as like the impartial. So if you don't like Pat's rankings, then you can go tweet at Pat. But Pat, we're going to start. We'll break down all these uniforms and then we'll do everything else. How did you like we're going to do one on Twitter and Facebook every hour starting at 5 a.m. Pacific, which was insane.
So for me, it made, if I wasn't working a full-time job, I wouldn't like it, but because, I was in between meetings and everything like that, it made my life a little bit more convenient. So obviously that's the USFL had me in mind when they were doing this because why not? But it definitely was kind of funny because, you're going back and forth and then people are arguing and then all of a sudden the next one comes out and you're like, oh, wow. Okay. Like, okay, we'll get back to the Ronald McDonald House uniform, but now we have this uniform to argue about. So it was it definitely kept social media buzzing for a little bit, which I think was the whole point.
It was good. It was weird. I mean, they just came out last night, said it was coming. I mean, it felt coordinated today when it all came in. It did feel a little rushed last night where they're like, hey, guess what? Like, this is coming tomorrow. Yeah, because I got up. My wife gets up. We get up at 6 something. She's a teacher. And I'm like, God, I've already missed like part of these. I mean, it was just insane. But I go, USFL, I would base it on Eastern, like a Pacific time. Start at 8, 11. That's fine. Don't start at 5. So let's start with number 8, right? The worst one we should start with. And then we'll start and then we'll go to the best. So I have all the images here. I'm going to load them up. Who is the number 8 uniform that you have?
Oh, the Stars. It's terrible. I think it looks kind of like a Ronald McDonald House a little bit. The uniform to me, and I wrote it verbatim in my article, was if the Super Bowl had McDonald's come in and do a commercial of like buy our food, and they had Ronald McDonald come out in a football uniform. I don't like the color scheme. I think it's too much. It's a little bit belligerent, but it's, and also you would think because the history behind Philadelphia in general, they'd maybe make it a little bit more red, white, and blue, a little bit more historical, patriotic, but they went the other way. And also when I think of Stars, I don't think of ketchup and mustard. Never really a taste for me, but if someone else has an opinion on it, please feel free to share because I'm not a fan of it whatsoever.
Yeah, I have the image here. You might see the yellow blasting off my face. You might see the reflection blasting off. It's very loud. They did a couple of things with these collars. A couple of the collars have the two-tone, which I really don't like. Fan Control Football did a little bit of that with the Wild Aces one, and it looks like a peddler's tunic kind of thing. I don't love that. It is a really odd red. I saw the gas station things, right? People were posting a lot of I don't know what.
Was it Exxon Mobil?
Yeah, they have the same one. It is very Ronald McDonald. The stripe on the helmet looks really superimposed on here. I don't know if that's I don't think on the helmet. I mean, it's a sticker on there. That doesn't really fit in. I would have done like take the stars and run it across. If you would have done that stripe and run those diagonal kind of star logos on there. Yeah, really bright yellow pants. Is this kind of the consensus worst one?
I think based off the Twitter universe and Instagram universe, from what I've seen, I know in our little writers group, a lot of people were kind of shocked by it, but especially with a lot of these uniforms kind of look pretty, I don't want to say bland, but, you know, pretty neutral colors and everything like that. They definitely swung for the fences on this, and I feel like they missed, but who knows? They'll probably win the championship and we'll all forget about it because that's how those things work.
This two-tone on the side too, which I didn't, this one has the side image. I don't think all of them have the same wonderful assets they provided us, the media outlets. And then, I mean, really cool production value with all the announcements. I thought all the announcements were good. But this like tire track, it's like skid marks down the side that continues to the pants. Very odd, very odd. I don't get the stripes. Like it's the stars. It should be stars.
Yeah. If they put stars going back on the helmet, I think that would have been like with a better color tone, maybe, or maybe more neutral colors. That would have put their ranking up for me. But sometimes less is more. And, you know, like some of these uniforms, I felt like they did less and they knocked it out of the park, you know, like mine, not to go into the future a little bit, but 7 through 4 are all pretty interchangeable for me.
Yeah, I think this is probably the most audacious of all of them. I mean, I think we probably spent the most time on this one just because it is. But yeah, I don't get the skid marks with that. So okay, so that is the Philadelphia Stars as number 8. What's number 7?
Birmingham Stallions. I'm a little disappointed. I thought they'd do more with kind of like how the Breakers did some stuff, and they're a little bit higher on my list, obviously. But I would have liked with Birmingham being kind of the front and center of the USFL. With all these games and how much good this is going to do for the city of Alabama. I would have thought that either A, they would have did something with the horse, maybe on the actual jersey, or B, they would have added maybe like maybe a horsepower, like something with speed or something like that, or maybe just like a tribute to Alabama in general, because this is a professional football team in Alabama. People in Alabama love football, and you know this is how Birmingham's going to be front and center of the league, so let people know, you know.
Be careful, your mic's rubbing just a little bit on your jacket. Okay. Yeah, the helmet's good. I think we had seen this helmet
agreed
when it came out. It was one of the ones that came out with the press whenever they did that big press conference thing. That was there. I mean, it's always still just stickers on. It's really weird to me that people get that up in arms about the helmets. But yeah, I mean, was this one that you said felt very 49ers?
Yes, I did. It kind of felt like their alternate a little bit, which I'm kind of talking now both sides of my mouth with it, because sometimes, you know, and one of the jerseys further down the list has a Kansas City Chiefs vibe that I really enjoyed, but I just felt like this should have been more personalized because it is Birmingham and it is kind of the baby of the league, if that makes sense.
I really like the font for the number. I really like the 8 that really squared off. Obviously it looks good because it's an 8, maybe, you know, like a 18 or 19, maybe they could do that similar squared off. I like that. The pants, it's a classic look with that. I feel good. It feels safe though. Like you said, if you're going to have the premiere, it's in the kickoff game. Stripe again. We got the big stripe going down the Mohawk.
I'm not opposed to the Mohawk. The problem, I may be a little bit biased because the Stallions are one of my favorite like logos. I feel like it's a safe logo. Anytime you go Stallion, Mustang, Colt, something like that. And I have no like allegiance to it, but I definitely feel like it's a great logo. And they could have did maybe 1 or 2 like tweaks here and there, and then they're in the top 4 in my opinion.
All right, so that's number 7. So number 6.
I went with the Michigan Panthers. What I like about this one the most is because that light blue reminds me of the Seahawks, of how they kind of use that teal every once in a while. So I actually really liked seeing the light blue just kind of shaded in there. And I feel like it wasn't overdone too much because they got the main colors, the maroon, that goldish color, and the light blue. I do like the helmets the most because it kind of encapsulates the whole actual helmet with their logo, and that's kind of a big thing for me. Kind of like how Oregon will do with the Ducks, kind of those duck wings on the helmets. So I'm definitely a fan of the Panthers. Jersey really doesn't wow me too much, and I'm not really big into the gold pants. I would like to see just normal silver or white pants personally.
The helmet, this Mark, I think reported this. Mark with with News Hub that two of the helmets need custom painting. This has to be one of them, right? The Panthers with the inlay going in with the chin strap and all that. I think that I would have liked that the Panther nose to match up a little bit better with the cutout of the helmet there as it goes around with the. I mean, that's just me being anal OCD, but I like the jersey color. I have a John Cena jersey that's this exact color from when what was it? Must have been like Massachusetts, wherever. I can't remember John Cena. Terrible photography job here with the white pads being seen through the burgundy. That's a little rough, I would say. The photographer on this one, it was probably a fail with it. You can really see the reflection of the white through the mesh. It seems a little more meshy than the other ones, a little more transparent.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that in the photography as well. I went more on the helmet. The helmet is kind of what did it for me, just because they're a little bit bolder, and they're only number 6, so it's not like I went all in. But it was between the helmet and the and that light blue that kind of did it for me. So
it's weird. It's weird how the stripes attach to on the shoulder. It's like not really a wraparound. It kind of stops.
Yeah.
It's like 2 sections, and then that you can see that's like that's that burgundy in between. That's weird. It's a weird design on that. I don't know if that would be final if they were going to mock that up better. If this was
the away jersey definitely sells it a lot more for me than the home jersey. And I think part of it is the mesh of the jersey as well. So we'll see. We got a couple more months, so and we'll figure it out.
And they only provided the high res of the home one. So obviously there's white ones, but I think these will get much more of the play normally. These are the ones that are for sale. All right, number 5.
I went with Tampa Bay Bandits. I kind of like how they went the opposite of the way the Tampa Bay Vipers went, a little bit more conservative and whatnot. What I really found fascinating was it kind of reminded me of the UFL's Las Vegas Locomotives, their away jerseys especially. Or not the USFL, excuse me, the UFL's Las Vegas Locomotives. And that's kind of where I went with it. Just a clean look. And it's one of the first teams on our list to have the logos on the shoulder, which is what, it's a little bit different. And that's what I liked.
The Tampa Bay logo is definitely the best. This has a lot of Buccaneer vibes, kind of these pewter pants, right? Is that kind of the color of that?
Yeah.
And then we've got the stripe too. The stripe going all the way. I don't like. It's never going to match. Even in you guys have the photo here. Like it's never going to match up. This is the press photo, and the stripe doesn't match up. You know what I mean? It's never going to look good, and this is the best it's ever going to look. So I think that is odd.
Yeah, the red. I'm not like crazy on the red, but it's definitely, it's definitely not the worst one. Obviously, it literally is middle of the pack in our countdown. So I like the logo on the shoulder. I like the throwback a little bit unintentionally to a UFL team. So it's better than the other 3 that we mentioned, and literally a middle of the pack jersey.
Yeah. Buccaneer vibes. It's good. I like the logo. I can't be a Tampa Bay fan, but I like the logo. Okay, number 4.
Oh, this is a complete bias. We talked about this earlier. I only picked this one because of the Mean Machine and the Miami Sharks, the Houston Gamblers, number 4.
Oh yeah,
This is straight out of nostalgia for me. You can never go back to bad with all black. Also, those throwbacks that I mentioned really make it hilarious, but nothing too crazy. And for the helmet and the logo, adding the G with the state of Texas in it with the star for Houston is awesome, like design wise. But everything else is pretty simple. So once again, a middle of the pack jersey, but it is hilarious how it does copy the Miami Sharks and the Mean Machine from The Longest Yard.
Yeah, you guys have seen the long shot, and then Any Given Sunday, right? The Al Pacino team on that. Again with these stripes, I guess I didn't really pay attention. I was mostly looking to the jerseys today.
I was too, and then when I started writing the article, I started looking at the helmets, and I was like, and that's what I was going to put the Panthers number 7, but then because I saw the work with the jersey or the helmet, I was like, okay, you guys can be at number 6.
Yeah, you got the two-tone, right? You got the gray going into the black, the reverse on that. I think this would probably be one of the easier jerseys to wear, right? Like if I'm like wearing it on the street, I don't think I'm going to get mugged. Like, you know, like some of the jerseys I wear. Like I guess I should point out, it's a good day that I got my Royal Retros XFL Dragons away jersey custom the day that all this stuff came out. But no, yeah, this is very middle of the road, very safe. I'm like, I think I'm technically a Gamblers fan because that's who we picked on the podcast. But I don't love this jersey. This looks like the old jersey. I was going to buy one of these from Royal Retros, but it just seemed a little too plain to me. Number 3.
So number 3 is the Maulers, and I like the Maulers because of their outrageous color scheme, but they didn't go over the top like the Stars did. So they have just enough of, yes, we have bright colors. Yes, we have this going on. They have the logo on the shoulder, which is a big deal for me because it changes it up, you know, makes it look like the jerseys weren't made in an NCAA team builder, but it also isn't like, look at my purple pants, look at my orange pants. All the pants are pretty conservative, and you know, I think it flows really well together.
Yeah, the pants definitely tone it down. This is a really loud jersey. There's a lot going on. You have this two-tone collar, right? Then you're getting the shoulder pads in underneath it, but then you have the white trim on the jersey collar. It's just a lot. It's a lot of colors. I like the number. It looks like, I've heard a lot of it looks like the Apollos from the AAF. I kind of missed that. I wasn't you can again see the colors radiated off my face. I didn't live through the AAF. I was more of the XFL guy, but the two-tone on there, the purple, this is really divisive. This is either top of people's lists or bottom of people's lists.
Yeah. If this would have been my number 7 if they changed the pants, but because, you know, I feel like and the away jersey looks good as well, that I think they kind of saved themselves in my mind. And, you know, it's nothing too over the top, and then just enough color to show off the logos. And, you know, like I said, I'm big on the shoulder logos at this point. So it definitely is a fan. I'm definitely a fan of this jersey. Colors are a little bit weird for the city of Pittsburgh. You know, I would have maybe alternated the black and yellow, but, you know, they did a good job not looking too crazy with their colors. So,
yeah, I saw this mocked up with like a Steelers colors, and it looked a lot better.
I mean, like, there's, you know, the Steelers, the Pirates, the Penguins. I feel like everyone would have been okay if the Maulers went the black and yellow.
Yeah. All right, number 2.
The Breakers. This one's a really easy, smooth, like, jersey for me. Like, the way jersey is beautiful. It goes down real smooth. In my article, I use the term calm before the storm, and it's got a very common effect. Aesthetically, I think it's one of the more appeasing jerseys to look at. I love the wave on the shoulder. Once again, logo on shoulder. It flows really nicely. And that's pretty much it. I like the number scheme. And, you know, I just think it looks real calming. You know, it's a very, like, chilled out jersey, nothing too crazy. And sometimes, like I said, simple is better, but the way it flows, especially with that wave coming in on the sleeve, to me was a top 4 jersey immediately.
Yeah, this is the other one, right, that must have the custom paint work going in. I like that. Yeah. I just think we're a pro league. I mean, I think high school, we can put a sticker on the helmet. I think on this, I mean, even like the Dragons ones and the XFL, like, I mean, that was a sticker, but it always felt more part of the uniform, right? It always felt more part of that. I like that the stripes are only in the pants and doesn't go all the way up, that you have the nice sleeve. I think that fits well. And I did not like this one when I saw it earlier. Looking at it now, the way I think the way fits really nicely in the shoulder, and then the continuing down the stripe, like you said, down the pants, I think is nice.
And the pants look like a light blue silver, so it's not that white. It don't look white to me. So I think that's what makes it a little bit different as well, because they could have took the easy route and went white. It kind of looks like it's that light blue silver, which is a lot more appeasing to me when I look at it, especially in that home jersey when they're wearing their blue jerseys.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. All right. So then, number 1 must be not the Gamblers, must be the Generals. Just be the Generals.
Yeah. So, extreme bias. I'm an East Coast guy from New York originally, but you know, that got them into my top 4. But when I actually looked at the jersey, something I missed was the stars on top of the shoulder pads, and then the numbers on the shoulders. So for me, I loved it. I love the red collar. I love the way the numbers look with the red and the away jerseys. And I love the all white. It reminds me of the Kansas City Chiefs, like I alluded to earlier, when the Chiefs do their all white. So there's definitely, a fan on that. The Generals logo, very simple, a throwback to obviously their old logo, and the Springling logos on very clean with the helmets. A lot to like here. Kind of gives me those Georgia vibes with the Red Sox, red and white. And I'm kind of glad they didn't go all red pants as well. I thought that could have been an easy cop out, but they just go with the red tops. And to me, that's a very nice, clean look. Everything looks crisp on these jerseys.
Good Lord. It was hard to find the away jerseys here while you were talking, but I found it because I just wanted to pop up the photo here before then. God, this is really good. I really like the pants. I really like it. It's clean, but has personality. I thought originally, where did my photos here go? I thought originally it had I guess the replica has the logo on the sleeves. This has the numbers. The replicas don't match entirely.
The shoulders are on top. Or the logo is on the top.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Okay.
Yeah, that's what sold it for me. Like as soon as I saw that, I'm like, you're going number one because no one else has that. I had to double check.
It really doesn't show well on any of these photos. Yeah. You think they could have got?
I went on the Twitter, like the Twitter videos. They show it off real nice. Yeah, when they introduce the uniforms.
Because a couple of the press photos, they have him like doing more of a stance, and I think for this one, you can see it on here on the one where he's kind of doing the Heisman or whatever.
Yeah,
I still get the Trump connotation with the Generals. I get that that's totally like a separate thing, and this is it's been years later, but I have a feeling that like anytime we see I moderate a lot of the Facebook groups. And like anytime the Generals are brought up, like everyone's talking about Trump, and it's just like good, bad, indifferent. But it is hard that you have such a legacy of one of these brands tied in for good or bad. Like whatever you want to think and do and say, but it's polarizing in the way that I don't think football should be.
Yeah, and I definitely do think about that. Like in general, especially with the USFL brand overall, but. If we could forgive people for other things, we can forgive a football. I'm not like advocating for or against, but it's football. Get over it. We're going to be okay. Like you either like the jersey or you're not. Those two things aren't synonymous. So I don't know if you think I would like to believe that people aren't picking their jerseys due to a political figure. But if you are, whether you're for or against, just know that this is the best jersey, regardless of your politics.
I wanted to get the other one note about the jerseys here, and then we'll get you off here really quick. We'll talk about the playoff stuff. USFL News on Twitter, and then Mark had the story later too, talking about the Ripon Athletic of Berlin, Wisconsin's going to make it, and then Rydell is going to make the helmets. Because I was looking, you can see the Oakley logo, and is it Rydell or Rydell?
Yes, the both.
Yes, the both. I used to work with a Rydell, so that throws me off. I think it's Rydell, but anyway, so locally manufactured. That's good. That's good. There's no like Under Armour branding on the logo or on the uniforms or anything. It seems like it's their thing.
Either way, they look pretty good. The league's there's two ways this is going to go. The league's going to get better and they're going to adapt, or they're going to go into the land of misfit football leagues. So, either way, we are blessed for 2022. We will have at least a spring football league, and whether it lasts for 1 year or 100 years, I'm excited for it. So,
a couple last things here. We'll get off. So we had the draft lottery. Some more details are coming Friday as you listen to this. I assume like if they are going to stream it, they've told me they aren't, or there weren't plans. That might have changed now. It seems like they're coming around a little bit about like listening to the fans maybe a little bit, which is good. But they announced the draft lottery today. It was on the Speak for Yourself. I never know how to pronounce their host names. Way better than Colin Cowherd, right? Did you watch any of this or were you working?
So I was watching, I actually watched the skit when I did get off work, Marcellus Wiley and Emmanuel Acho.
Emmanuel Acho. He co-hosted part of The Bachelor when Chris Harrison got voted off. That's how not voted off. He got expelled off there because he had some bad things. So I know him from that more than I do actually football, which is funny enough.
Yeah. Well, so I'm just curious to see how they do this. I really like the way the AAF did their little draft party. I thought it was cool with the QBs and everything like that. As far as who's going to be the number one pick of it, statistically, I'm just going to go off Josh Johnson, because why not? Why wouldn't he not get drafted into another football league? Statistically, he will. Yeah,
he has to hit this ring. But yeah, so they did this thing. They drew balls. It was very odd, more compelling than Coward. They seemed a lot more invested than Colin did.
Yeah.
So it was like the lottery ball. So they went 8-1. I assume this is a snake draft, right? And they're going to announce all this, but that is the presumption, because you can't just do a set 1 to 8 every time. But Breakers are number 8, Maulers 7, Stallions. Gamblers are number 5, Generals 4, Stars, Bandits, and the Michigan Panthers, which kind of by and away is one of the more popular teams online right now, it seems like. Good that they get that first draft pick.
I think Jeff Fisher has to do with that. I think he is the most notable person in the coaching carousel. In the coaching roster. But regardless, Michigan, kind of that factory of sadness now that, Cleveland's got a couple of championships. And so hopefully, the people of Michigan can get a championship, some good picks and figure it out,
Yeah. So
especially with Stafford winning a Super Bowl like last week.
Stafford, and then watching the photographer fall off a Super Bowl platform. That was insane. That is not a good look for Stafford at all. Like in other news, they're paying the hospital bills right now. That is a horrendous look. I've watched that video about 20 times, and he's just like, whoa, and turns around and walks away, and you see that girl drop. So this is happening Tuesday. I'm still being asked today, do you think it's going to be on Peacock, like Jake Henry or whatever? It is such a production to put something on TV of any kind. I mean, if they do a Zoom, I don't think they're going to do a Zoom, it'd be on YouTube or whatever, but to put anything on Peacock or any sort of streaming platform at all that's not YouTube is such a feat. I just don't, you got a TD and a director and a producer and graphics, the XFL one was a Zoom cam for 8 hours. I just think it's going to be too long. I don't think they think it's going to be compelling enough. I think that they feel like today, I think they're going to look at today and go, we gained 5,000 followers tweeting these uniform things. Fox Sports retweeted it. NBC retweeted it. Why on earth do we need to stream our draft? We're just going to do the same thing.
I would and I don't know how legal any of this is, but I would like for them to tell the first 8 players that got drafted, tell them, hey, you're getting drafted by the USFL. Have them be on a Zoom or something like that. And then from there, Josh Johnson, Jordan Ta'amu, they don't know where they're getting drafted, but
show it that way and record that. Then you can post that. Yeah. I don't think we need to stream it, but you could have that as a great little clip. I agree. Look at that. That's a good little idea.
Yeah. So, if the USFL sees this and they want to throw me, a couple $, I'll wire my bank account to you guys. But I think that's the most the fairest thing to do without kind of going all out like the AAF did, because it's hey man, maybe if you didn't do that, we would have had an extra week or 2 of football that you could have financed. I don't think Matt Sims really wanted to go to Carolina and wait around for all those hours to find out he wasn't getting drafted by the Legends or whatever team it was on.
The first draft pick in the USFL in 1983 was Dan Marino. I just fell into football last year, so I did not know that at all. That's sounding to me. All right, last thing we're going to get here. So then they had the big shakeup the other day. They came out, they announced USFL, we're playing all the games in Birmingham, except we're only playing the regular season in Birmingham. We're not doing the playoffs. We're not doing the championship game. Which is odd. So this had been reported. I had read this in the articles that Roy S. Johnson and everyone else had posted, that they had thought that maybe there would be some conflicts with the World Games getting set up in time to kick off right after. I think that they had thought maybe originally they could do some of the games at Legion Field. I was talking with Roy offline. Roy thinks that it's just way too big of a stadium. It holds like 70,000. And to try to show a championship game there, maybe with that many people, right? Maybe not wouldn't look the best on TV. So they are doing it in Canton at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium, where they do the Hall of Fame game. I don't know how the logistics are going to work with them shipping players up there. That seems like a pain in the middle of, you finish the regular season and then you got to kind of ship up, move in the middle of the week and practices, because it's not like you're maybe like in the regular season, right? You're used to like going out of town for the weekend, but here you've been living in Birmingham for a month or 2 months, and then you're moving out. What do you think about them playing at Canton at the Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium?
So I do like it because it does bring the NFL into it a little bit. And anytime you have Big Brother helping you out, it's never a bad move. As far as logistically with the hotels, yes, it will be a hassle. But on the bright side, I'm assuming it's going to be 4 teams that make the playoffs. Most likely, I'm hoping they're not doing a 6-team and then a 2-week bye or 2-team bye. But regardless, they'll make 4 teams will make the playoffs. And then, it's really only 2 weeks. You'll do your semi and then your playoff game. And if you do it right, you honestly only need to house these players in Ohio for 8 days. If they practice all day in Birmingham, show up the Ohio, play the game, and then they're playing the game 7 days later. So
yeah, it says here, you're correct. The final, they'll begin on June 25th, the top 2 teams of each division. Yeah, I would have thought they would have done a 2-week playoffs. That's, I guess, a little disappointing. So you have the semifinals and then the finals. They haven't announced the championship game title yet, which I wish that they would. I've been asked if the Mega Bowl lineage of the Spring League carries over to the USFL. I don't think so.
I mean, with Mr. Woods obviously having ties, you never know. It's whatever. It's his world. We're all just living in it.
It is.
But I mean, and even I'm a fan either way. Like I said, I'm excited. We're blessed. We really are to have another league of football coming up. And the Spring League, you could say all you want about it, but in the end, they gave us football during COVID. They've given us showcases. They were on TV last year. My man Ryan Willis, is on an NFL team right now and was on an NFL roster, an active roster. So they're producing good talent from, the unknown. So you can say all you want about the Spring League, all that goofy stuff, but in my mind, they are pretty successful. So
I think it's okay. I'm coming around. I was a little more bland on the jerseys today. I got a lot of flack online, but now that I'm looking at them, and again, if you don't like the rankings, yell at Pat. Pat's on Twitter at what QB NFL 7. What is it?
NFL QB Talk.
NFL QB Talk. We got it. Pat, good first showing today. I appreciate the article. Check it out on the XFL News Hub, and then we'll bring you back, I'm sure, to do more USFL stuff coming up in the future.
No, I'm grateful. Thank you for having me. I'm truly blessed.
Thanks.